Well, hello friends. I hope y'all are all doing well. Wanted to see if you have time for one more holiday dessert. One more pumpkin pie. Let's make some mini pumpkin pies. That way everybody can take one for themselves. You don't have to take the time to cut them into slices, and everybody can take their own. So let me show you how I make mini pumpkin pies. Very, very simple. So first thing is your crust. You can do your crust however you want to. If you want to make your own crust, do that. We have a couple of videos that you could go back and check on how to make your crust. But this is a quick and easy in case you need that one more dessert. And you gotta have a pumpkin pie on Thanksgiving, right? So this is how I'm doing it. I'm using pre-made pie crusts. Pillsbury has some. This is the local store brand. These are what I'm using for the crust. They come in rolled up. You come to a box rolled up. This is what we're going to use. Next is what kind of pan you got. I have, this is just a regular muffin pan. You could use this. I have a mini pie baking pan. You could use something like that. Or maybe you even have an itty bitty pie pan. You could use something like these. Very, very easy, very simple. So let's show you how you use these. Take your crust package and let's open it up. Now this has been in the refrigerator. They're much easier to maneuver if you let them sit out for a few minutes to get warm, about to room temperature. This hasn't been out very long, so I don't know how far I'll go with this. I might have to stop and let it set. But if you will roll this out, if it is kind of warmed up to room temperature, you can maneuver it a little bit and see these little places where it's broke apart. I can squish them together better. So think about that whenever you're doing your pie. Let it sit out. It don't take long, 10, 15, 20 minutes. Just let it sit out. And you can actually make it a little bit bigger. It'll stretch a little bit for you, so you could actually get more crust out of it if you want to. So I have these. These are biscuit cutters from Pampered Chef. They're different sizes. As you can see, you can, whatever size. If you were making biscuits, you can make some giant biscuits there. So this small one is the one I'm using for a cupcake pan. I actually just cut it out, and I kind of use my fingers to just thin the crust out just a tiny bit and make this disc a little bit bigger. I'm going to take my pan, which I've already put some pan coating in. Either you spray these or you put a little bit of pan coating, which is what I've got right here. My pan coating from Nan, Farm Cooking with Nan. Take that crust and just put it down into the well of your pan. That's all you got to do. We're not going to fill up this pan, well, all the way to the top. We're making some individual mini pumpkin pies, so we don't want a giant pie crust, a giant pie here. That's your muffin pan. If you want a bigger pie, take a larger. This one is probably a 3-inch cut. I am very careful about going to the edge. I don't want to waste any of my crust, so I'm going to cut out this one. And then I have this other pie pan, baking pan. This was actually for some mini pies. And you can see that if I made it big enough, I could make some pretty edges. I'm not going that far with this, but I could if I wanted to. Again, I'm going to stretch this out a little bit, make this a little bit bigger. And I'm making the crust a little bit thinner because we want to be able to taste the yummy pumpkin pie filling and not get a whole big bite of dough. Okay? I've already put some pan coating in this one. Just going to take this and put it down into the well. And I like to just mash it up against the edges. And there we go. Now that one is ready. And if you have your small, these little bitty, some kind of little small itty bitty pie pans. This one is the same size as the first one. No, this is a different size. This is probably a 2-inch. Gonna cut this one same way. Gonna make it a little bit thinner, just like I've done with all the others. And then we're just going to lay it down in this itty bitty pie plate. And there we have crust for an individual pie. So now we have to make our filling. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to finish cutting out the rounds from my pie crust, and I'm going to get together the ingredients for a pumpkin pie. It's a very, very simple pumpkin pie. You probably have all the ingredients except for maybe the pumpkin. You might have to run to the store and grab some pumpkin. That'll be the only thing you might not have, I think. We'll be right back and we'll talk about what ingredients are going into this pumpkin pie. Well, my crusts are ready, and it took no time. They're easy to cut out, and nobody will know that I didn't hand make these. And actually, maybe I did. I actually cut them out of the crust, and I placed them in here, and I made them the right size and squished them down in the wells. So that makes them hand done, right? So claim it. Handmade crust. So let's set our crust aside. I don't know how many I'll need for this recipe. I've done 12. We'll see how many this recipe makes. Okay, so now we can start making our pumpkin pie. So into your bowl, we're gonna add 15 ounces of pumpkin. That's this one can. Remember, this is an easy pumpkin pie, so we want everything to be as easy as possible. I did not bake these crusts because they're going to bake with the pie filling in them. Okay, now we need 3/4 cup of packed brown sugar. This is 1/4. Right here is the 1/4 cup measure. I'm going to get some more here. Pack it into the measuring cup. So I got about 1/4 cup in here, so that makes a half. One more time. It says light brown sugar, but all I have is dark brown, so I'm using what I have. There is my third. So I've got 3/4 cup of sugar added. Okay. Then we're going to add some spices. We need 1.5 teaspoons of ground cinnamon. There is 1 teaspoon and a half. I'm almost out of cinnamon. Let's see how much more. Add a little extra. Okay, then we need 3/4 teaspoon of ground ginger. That's one spice that you might not regularly have in your pantry. 3/4. So I've got, there is a half. And here's my fourth measure. So that's 3/4 teaspoon of ginger. Then we need 1/2 teaspoon of salt. 1/2. This has several spices in it. All right, 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. 1/4. Okay. You know this. You could probably use the pumpkin pie spice and cut out some of these if you have that one. And I've got allspice, and it also is 1/4 teaspoon of allspice. Okay. Then we need 2 large eggs. I'm going to go ahead and beat these a little bit. Just get those yellows and whites combined. Pour that in. And 12 ounces of evaporated milk. I've got 1/2 cup here. Let's add some more from this can. This one is a non-fat or a low-fat, let's see what it says, a fat-free evaporated milk. I didn't even know they made such. I just accidentally grabbed it. So there's 8 ounces. Now I need 4 more. Be the rest of this can, I think, yeah. Okay, so there is my evaporated milk. Now, we just need to whisk all this together. Let me grab a whisk. We just want to whisk these ingredients all together. Get everything combined really good. Remember, this is easy pumpkin pie. Easy individual pumpkin pies. Now, when you serve this, you might want to serve it with some whipped cream on top. You can easily make some homemade whipped cream if you have the heavy whipping cream and some sugar, and put that into your mixer and beat it all up until it gets thick, and it's about probably 5 minutes or so, and that's some delicious. You can put a little pumpkin pie spice into that and put that on top of your mini pumpkin pies. You see, look how good that looks. I've got everything combined here. Now we're going to dip it into our crust. I'm going to get a small something to dip with a handle. All right. These are going to bake. Now the recipe is for a pie. These are going to bake at 425 degrees for 10 minutes, and then you turn the eye down to 350 degrees. If you're doing a pie, it'd be 45 to 50 minutes more. These are individuals. They're not going to take that long, so I'm going to have to watch them. I'll put it in the oven at 425 for 10 minutes, and then I'll turn the eye down to 350, and I'm going to keep an eye on them. And when they're no longer, when the pie is set, it's not jiggly in the center, it'll be done. So I don't expect it to take 45 to 50 minutes, so I'll have to watch it. And we're going to carefully spoon or pour our pumpkin pie pumpkin pie filling into these cups. I'm not going to fill it all the way to the top of the crust. I'm going close to the top. I want to give it a little room to bake. I might need another pan of crust. These others are a little bit bigger, so it may take a little more filling in those. So there we go, there's one pan. So I'm gonna do the baking on these, and then we'll come back in a little while and show you what they look like. But this is a really easy pumpkin pie dessert if you need one more dessert for Thanksgiving Day. Be back in a little bit.